Welcome to the Worship Leader Toolbox podcast, where our mission is to equip and encourage worship leaders and teams and practical components of local church leadership. We're so thrilled to have you listening to our podcast, and our prayer is that it's helpful for you and your teams. If you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to reach out to us at worshipleadertoolbox.com, and we'd also be honored to have you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to us. Heading now to today's episode with Tim Price.
Hello, this is Tim Price, and I'm glad to be here on the Worship Leader Toolbox podcast. It's a great day today, and I just want to share these 4 things that worship leaders should do in September. There are seasons for everything, and in the thick of back-to-school fall mode with all the stuff that goes on, it might be easy to let some small but essential things get swept away in the details. So I just wanted to share these 4 things that you can do this week to reap great benefits for you and your team in the coming months. Number 1, declutter your space. No matter how organized your backstage might be, it's always good to take a critical look and see what you can part with to save space and keep things neat and tidy. A great backstage area does have a lot of benefits, no matter how big and elaborate your stage is or how big the backstage area is. Here are a couple of benefits. 1, you are more efficient and effective in setting up the stage, finding the right equipment at the right time. Number 2, you have a sense of hospitality and pride for your team members as they step back there, put their cases back there, meet back there, grab their iPads or whatever they're getting, and it just gives them a better sense. And the last one is there is a psychological benefit for people showing up for your worship ministry to know that things are in order and ready to go, and it helps them volunteer better. So the high traffic of worship prep areas really do tend to become messy. Storage of unused drums is our problem. Seems like we have a drum graveyard half the time. Wrongly placed cables on hooks or in cabinets, any number of things can just cause a little bit of angst, especially for people who are type A. So I am not that type of person. I do create a little bit of chaos, kind of storing stuff quickly, thinking I'd do it later, and September is a good month for doing it later. Depending on the severity of your decluttering needs, you could either choose a day and gather a small team to help with the backstage straightening up. Sometimes that's necessary so you know what stuff is actually needed and what can be gotten rid of. Or you could just take 20 minutes to head that way and spruce it up yourself. It doesn't take long at all to do that. For worship leaders and just from my own experience, I also know that there are other places in your life that might need to be decluttered. One of those might be your office or your desk or your guitar case. Sometimes my guitar case gets full of papers and bulletins and other information. Maybe it's your car, or maybe it's the sound booth or sound tech area where the flat surface gathers a bunch of unwanted and unneeded things. So take some time right now, this month, this week, to declutter your spaces. Number 2, plan your Christmas party date. It might seem slightly far off right now, but putting a plan on the calendar can be an essential part of building community and celebrating with your team. And I know Christmas time is one of the busier worship ministry department times, and so you might even opt to schedule this first couple weeks of January, and that might be good for people just to do something after the fact. However, there is this still significant thing that happens at Christmas time where people really do feel appreciated and more community and more connection. And I've experienced that in our ministry over and over. So we usually try to squeeze it in the thick of December. So here are a couple ideas for a possible Christmas party. Host a party for the worship team and the tech team in the church building, and invite someone who loves Christmas and loves parties to be the planner or the coordinator. And that'll take a lot off your plate. Another idea might be to have an open house in your home. I did this for several years where we just took 3 or 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon and invited team members to stop by, have some food, and just celebrate and say thanks together. Number 3 is maybe if you don't have time to do a Christmas party, give everybody a $5 gift card for a cup of coffee and a special personalized note to let them know how much you've appreciated these last 12 months. This whole year has been great. And a 4th idea is to plan a Christmas party at a local restaurant. The workload really decreases at that point, and you can pull some from your budget to help cover the cost and have people RSVP. September is a good time to recruit new people for your ministry. And if you have a training night or a community night coming up this fall, you could take a few moments to brainstorm people in your church right now who you would like to invite. And some of those people can be a part of ministry areas that are easily trainable. The places where you might need some reinforcements, camera operators, computer operators, graphic operators, lighting or sound. And you may actually also have somebody in mind that you've been thinking about for music. And that's a little different in terms of skill level and learning and all those things. But you can take this time to help new people get plugged in and acclimated for this semester. You can send a personalized email to do this, or a text, or a handwritten note, or just talk with somebody when you see them at church, or create a plan this month to actually share the opportunity. And I wouldn't say the need, because you don't want to have the burden of having to tell people no if it doesn't fit, but you want to share the pathway for people to join you in ministry. How do people find out about how to join the worship team? Just share that simply some Sunday morning, put it in your publication, put it on the website, give people the opportunity to know what steps they need to take in order to be a part of the ministry. Then number 4, a worship conference or training event can do wonders for you, your soul, and your ministry. And it can also grow your volunteers. Invite a couple volunteers to join you for a conference or training event. And to be honest, half the fruit will come just from traveling together to and from the thing you go to. So right now, September is a good time to Google some possible worship leader conferences. Look for one that might be in the spring. You can include it in your budget for next year, and you can get it on the calendar, which is one of the hardest things to do. And conferences don't have to specifically be for worship ministry, although those are really awesome too. But any number of spiritual growth leadership conferences can make a big difference in your refreshment and your new ideas and your motivation for this season. And another idea for a training event might actually be to bring someone to your church to be a part of worship ministry and to personalize the training toward you. And I have loved being a part of these times. It's been great to visit a church in a number of different formats, either be there on a Saturday and share with the worship band, listen to the worship band rehearse, give some pointers, give a bit of a workshop kind of feel. And then the next day, I've joined the worship team and we've led worship for the church service. We had lunch afterwards, we debriefed a little bit, and then the worship training weekend came to a close and everybody headed home. Other times it's just been one evening. Watch the worship team a little bit, visit, talk, give some pointers. Other times we haven't done music at all. We've just sat, had a meal, and talked through worship ministry in general. Just whatever the needs might be for your church, the place where you might be feeling a little stuck, hard to move to the next level. Whatever the case is, those are awesome times. They're probably less expensive than taking a group and traveling somewhere, but it has the same and a similar kind of impact to help increase the effectiveness of your ministry. So I just want to throw it out there that I've loved doing those, and if it's something that might fit for your church, I would love to be a part of it, to be a one day or a weekend guest, and to join in your ministry with you to help your church worship band and worship team raise up a level. And so if that's of interest to you, be sure to reach out to me on tim@worshipleadertoolbox.com. Well, thanks for listening today. The 4 things worship leaders should do in September: declutter your space, plan the Christmas party date, recruit some new people for your next community or training night, get them involved, and get a training event or conference on your calendar. Those are pretty simple things, could probably be even done today or tomorrow, for sure this week. Enjoy taking a little task list and going with it. Otherwise, thanks for your ministry, for being a part of this podcast, for being a part of the church or ministry where you serve, and continue to trust that God is leading you here in this place, the right time, the right person, for the people that you are with. Remember to sing loudly, to love Jesus, to lift up his name, and to love the people that you're leading. And I hope to see you here next time on the Worship Leader Toolbox.
Thanks again for joining us. If you have any questions, you can find out more about our ministry by going to worshipleadertoolbox.com. You can also take a quick moment to request access to the Facebook community Worship Leader Toolbox. We'd love to connect there and have you connect with others. As a reminder, we try and share a new podcast episode 2 times a month, most often on Thursday, and we look forward to joining with you next time.